Hello my friends, this is Dr. Brett Bingham from Intermountain Pet Hospital coming to you again with the question of the week. The most common disease we diagnose in our hospital is dental disease, which is why I get so many questions about that, and we've addressed a lot of those questions. Now I'm going to talk about the second most common disease that we diagnose at our hospital, so obviously we get a lot of questions about that, and that is, why is my dog itchy? So we're going to spend a couple questions of the week addressing that. The easiest way to address that is a diagram. So I'm going to introduce you to a diagram in this video and kind of walk you through all the possibilities of why my dog could be itchy. So as we're looking at this diagram, you will see there are three main reasons why a dog can be itchy. It could be parasites, it could be allergies, it could be infection. It could be any one or all three of those things. The thing that I want to stress is sometimes we will address an allergy but not address an infection, and the dog will continue to be itchy, or the cat. Or sometimes we'll address an infection but not address the parasite, and they'll continue to be itchy. So the key is to address all three things. I'm going to start first by talking about parasites. So there are several kinds of parasites that can make our patients, dogs or cats, itchy. They can be mites, they can be fleas, they can be lice, sometimes ticks, but not so much ticks. But any of those can make a dog itchy. Now, it's very easy to treat. You'll see that there is a medication called Bringham on the diagram. All of the blue that you see are the treatment options, and we're going to spend more time talking about those later. But for all dogs that are itchy and cats, I recommend at least treating them with something for parasites. Bringham is a chewable treat that lasts 3 months, and it will kill parasites for those full 3 months. So I'd like to do it for all itchy patients so that I can just take parasites off the table and I don't have to worry about it, because it only takes one flea, it only takes one mite to make a dog itchy, especially if they have a hypersensitivity or allergy to it. For cats, we use Revolution, which is a topical ointment that goes on the back of their neck instead of the pill for dogs, which is Bringham. So number one, we like to take parasites off the table. That's usually one treatment and you're done. Now you'll see the biggest circle is allergies. And that is because it's the most common. It's the most common reason for a dog or a pet to be itchy. You'll see there's two main categories, food allergies or environmental allergies. You will notice that environmental allergies are much more common. We call that atopy. 85% of the time, if a pet has an allergy, it's environmental. It's not a food allergy. Only 15% of allergies are food, which is not what the guy at the feed store wants you to know. He wants you to think that most of them are food allergies because he wants to sell you several $100s worth of food to try and fix your problem. But the reality is only about 15% of them actually get better with a food trial. And we're going to talk more about a food trial later. And then we're going to talk about infection right now. So there are several types of infections that a pet can have. They can have a bacterial infection, they can have a fungal infection on the skin, and the way we diagnose that is by doing a skin impression smear. We also call it a cytology. If there is an infection, we have to address that either with antibiotics or an antifungal medication, sometimes a medicated shampoo, sometimes we can medicate it topically. Those are all ways to address an infection. The key to remember is that if you address the infection but you don't address the reason why they have an infection, they will continue to be itchy, and vice versa. If you address an allergy and or parasites but you don't address an infection, they will continue to be itchy. So the key is to make sure that we're covering all of our bases, parasites and allergies and infection. If you just address one, you'll continue to have problems. If it does happen to be an allergy, oftentimes there is no cure, and we have to talk about long-term treatment, which is what we're going to address in another video. But those are the three main reasons why a pet can be itchy. Treatment options is going to vary depending on how bad it is and which one of those it is. If this needs to be worked up further, obviously it needs to be addressed and worked up by a veterinarian. But those are the main reasons why a pet can be itchy. We're going to talk more about treatment later. Hopefully that answers the question of the week for this week.